Good Saturday morning, June 15th, the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing. Looking at precipitation the past 24 hours, we did have some scattered light showers across especially central and northern sections of Great Basin, excluding the Snake River Plain. Not much in the way of lightning. Lightning data was unavailable over the past 24 hours, so still inconsequential. Any lightning that would have occurred would have been wet or on wet fuels. New fire starts in the red circles. See a few here, small ones, an acre or two down south. Recent fires in the last 1 to 3 days in the yellow circles. Purple circles indicate prescribed burn projects still ongoing in many parts of the area. No significant large fires to speak of at this point. Precipitation over the past week. It's been fairly dry still across lots of southern areas. The past 2 weeks, we did have some significant moisture across parts of Idaho, the higher terrain of Utah, and northeastern Nevada. It's been the southern areas that have been fairly dry, but even there we've noticed an increase in humidity that has occurred. If we look at current ERCs, still showing a pretty benign condition, mostly green, below the 50th percentile. A few areas are going to dry out here in the yellow a little bit. In our southern areas, what's more indicative is the 10-hour fuel moisture, and notice that here in southern Nevada, parts of southern Utah and the Arizona Strip, they've moistened up quite a bit. They had some higher humidity, which helps, and also some isolated shower activity. So even down there, the grasses have moistened up a bit, so really no immediate concerns in the short term fuel-wise. If we look at 100-hour fuels, you can see some of our driest areas here across the central Snake River Plain of Idaho. This circle here indicates a little bit below normal, normal being the gray line. Further down south in southern Nevada, you can see we've upped a little bit above normal, and this is a 3-day average, so some of the moisture that they had there in the last 24 to 36 hours with higher humidity and isolated showers not fully reflected here or in southern Utah. However, a big inhibitor of fires this June has been the live fuel moisture. So look at some of the sagebrush values down in southwest Utah. Green, dash green is normal. These are record dry levels, which we were very close to last year at this time. The blue indicates where we currently are, much above normal, more typical of late May in terms of live fuel moisture. And up here in southern Nevada, still some of the sagebrush is more typical of early May than mid-June. So until these fuel moistures drop on down, potential for any really large fires should be fairly low, also with fairly good soil moisture as well in place. Satellite imagery shows a trough low pressure exiting. This brought some showers to parts of the Great Basin over the last 24 hours. But again, another disturbance off the California coast and a deeper trough off the Pacific Northwest coast. So for today, on the left-hand side, our typical upper air map that you're normally used to. Data is unavailable, so this is our backup. Here in the Great Basin, still showing a pretty good moisture push across our southern areas where there could be some isolated showers. It'll also bring higher humidity, so our fire potential in the green in all areas stays low. Relative humidity, even down here near the Vegas area where it's been like 6 or 7%, it's up to about 11% here and 18% closer to St. George. So things are moistening up quite a bit. Elsewhere, mid-teens to mid-20% range. On the right-hand side, winds fairly light, this light olive green, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Some slightly higher gusts up in southern Idaho through here. Now on Sunday, still some moisture building across much of Utah and parts of Nevada. Also another northern stream push of moisture into central Idaho and into parts of western Wyoming. So we're still in the green in all areas. Winds fairly light on the right-hand side. Humidity climbing up in northern areas, 22 to 40%. Still in the upper single digits to low teens here, but coming up here in Utah, 30% up here in southern Utah. So again, humidity and wind not a concern. Monday, still that lingering moisture through here, so wouldn't be surprised to see some isolated showers or thunderstorms anywhere in those darker green areas. No concern. Fire potential wise, humidities where they could be those showers. I'll have a tough time dropping below 30% in much of Utah. A little drier in western Nevada and still fairly humid in our northern areas. Winds, again, fairly light. Over the next 3 days, precipitation, these first two shades of green, anywhere from a couple of hundredths to maybe a tenth to locally a quarter inch of rain, especially in parts of Utah. So again, this will keep the humidity up, the fuel moisture up. Also some showers, maybe a tenth of an inch to locally higher amounts in the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming. Further down the road into Tuesday, moisture exits the region for a while. We see it drying out, start warming up a little bit. Now, as we go into Wednesday with the drying that pushes on in, you don't see that deep moisture anymore. We'll see some of our PSAs and those lighter, flashier fuels down south start transitioning towards the low-risk yellow, and that trend continues into Thursday and Friday. But until then, in the short term, really no significant fire weather issues for much of the area. 7-day precipitation totals, basically most of this in the first 3 days. Heavier amounts here in the Uintas and western Wyoming. And the 8 to 14-day outlook still continues to show this unseasonably cool pattern. Also, higher chances of moisture in central and northern areas. So at this point, through the rest of June, pretty much pairing up with what we've had in our latest monthly outlooks, below normal fire potential. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.